There's a locally developed game by what's a studio called Yellow Lab Games, called Metavoidal, which is an action roguelite where you, the player, you are a drummer who, I think, in terms of story, you're trying to join this legendary band, but turns out they're evil. So you're trying to now escape them. And the enemies you're fighting are actually like diehard fans of the band, you know? So it's a roguelite, and it ticks all the boxes in that sense where, you know, it's got all the good stuff you'd want from a game like this. It's got, you know, you've got permanent upgrades. As you play, you unlock a thing called, it's called exposure, EXP. See what they did there? Exposure points that you can turn into permanent upgrades. You know, you start with more health, you do more damage with certain things, whatever. So it like ticks that box. It's got the thing of you earn currency with each run, and there'll be shops between like each sort of level where you can spend that money to buy items or health or, you know, different upgrades. But I think so it ticks all those boxes in terms of roguelite. But I think what this game does differently, and it's so interesting, and I don't know if another game has done it, is that your attack sequence basically is built around the 1, 2, 3, 4 tempo of a drum beat. In the sense that you have 4 attacks in your sequence, but you can dictate what you want those 4 attacks to be. Like you can completely customize it. So, for example, you can say, I want my attack 1 and 2 to be a low damage like attack. Okay, so like it does 1 damage, half a second wind up, and that's it. But then I want my third attack to be like a harder hitting 3 damage attack, but it takes like 1 second to pull off. And then my fourth attack, I want to be a kick, which has like a sort of a mid range wind up, like 600ths of a second, but it does 2 damage. So it's quite interesting in that you unlock different, you know, like drum techniques that you can build. So this is what you're seeing on the screen now. You can sort of build out your attack based on that. And I don't know if I've seen it in another game. So it's quite interesting because it was just fun to experiment with. I bounced between just having a sequence of 4 very fast, low attack damage dealing attacks, or 4 very slow but high damage dealing attacks, you know, and mixes between them. And it was just quite fun because then that feeds into, obviously, like any good roguelite, you get different passives and abilities that you can then build into these attacks. So the way the abilities work, you choose, there are 4 main soundtracks in the game, and you basically choose 2 of them for a run, and they'll all be tied to a different element. So one of those records will be fire, one of those records will be like oil, one will be lightning, and the 4th one is holy. Okay, so for example, you might start a run and go like, cool, I've chosen the fire album, and like any roguelites, it's a thing of every now and then you get the chance to choose like one of 3 things, you know, to build out your skill set. You go, cool, with the fire, I want with this fire attack, the first attack in my sequence is going to set the enemy on fire, for example. So you get different things like that where you, as the run goes on, you're obviously customizing, like building out your skill set. And I just thought it was quite a unique way with the fact that you can swap between these different techniques, you know, to do that. And it was just good fun. Like I think I spent 13 hours playing the game. I only beat the boss on that 13th hour. Visually, if you're looking at the footage, it's this really cool like pixel aesthetic. I think it looks really good.
I like it a lot.
And it ran like perfectly. I don't think I had any bugs. It just looks good to play. And the soundtrack, oh my god, the soundtrack of this game, I think, so I wrote, if you do care, you the listener want to read more about it, I wrote a review for one of our friends, Noel, who runs fangirl.com, and I was saying in that review that this game is built around like metal music, and metal is just like one of my least favorite genres of music. Not because I don't have anything against it, it's just not my personal preference. But the soundtrack for this game is really good. there are a bunch of different songs, and just having them play during the action you're seeing on screen, like there were some proper earworms that I thoroughly enjoyed. But Joe, I don't know if you've not heard of this game or seen anything about it yourself.
No, I've seen it going around because, like I said, there's a bunch of friends we know in the local industry that have worked on this or have been attached to this game, and it's been in development from what I can tell for quite some time. Yeah. And it's just cool to see a new studio locally like take on a game that is, for all intents and purposes, just a good one of the genre it's aiming at, like a good Metroidvania. It's got a good distinct style. It gives like almost like Crypt of the Necrodancer vibes, but without actually trying to mimic that style of game at all.
Yeah.
And I think just looking at the footage here, the combat looks really good, like really robust and looks crunchy. And, you know, the dashes mixed with the big enemy or the big enemy counts and all of the chaos that's happening around you during attacks. It just looks visually like captivating and cool. So I really want to pick this up now. I assume it's on Steam.
It's on Steam,
correct?
and it's coming to Xbox. I think next week.
Is it coming to Xbox? Okay.
Yeah,
I think this would be great to play on like a Steam Deck or maybe even Nintendo Switch if it comes there.
Yeah. Put this on Switch. It would be right on home there. I think I didn't mention it. It does have a dodge roll, which is you have to have that in a game.
Okay.
And what's also quite nice is that there's just little attentions to detail. And it's one of those things where it's difficult to explain, but when you play the game, you'll feel it and you'll get it. It's like even the dodge roll, for example, there's a little sound prompt and a little thing that says perfect when you dodge properly, like perfectly, when you like just time your dodge roll. And even that, you can have some abilities that feed into that where you might get an option with, say, the Fire Album, like if every time you dodge roll perfectly, you ignite the enemy you've just avoided, as an example. Cool. So there's a lot of like variation and some careful thought into the sort of abilities you get. So I had a lot of fun. Like,
how long does a run usually last?
So I was going to get to that. I have some criticisms of the game though, and one of them is that the runs are just a bit too long. I found when I got to the final boss a couple times, which I'll talk about shortly, that was north of an hour, like an hour, 10 minutes a run, which it just feels very, I mean, what is an hour? It's not a lot of time, but it feels very long when you've put in all this effort to build out your character, then you die to the last boss and it's just, it's gone. And even that, there are some great bosses. There's a boss called Baroctopus, which is this organ playing squid basically, and that boss fight it's very good in terms of the music is good, the boss design's great, there's a good sort of rhythm and cadence to how attacks are signposted and foreshadowed and how you're meant to like interact with that boss. But that is like one of only a handful of bosses, and the others aren't as strong. I found, like, you just saw me fight a boss now. It's this floating skull thing. It's not as distinct as Baroctopus, and the attacks are a bit like eh. And then the final boss, after you've played for like an hour to get there, is there might be a trick or a thing I haven't figured out yet, but I thought the final boss was a bit too long in the tooth and like challenging, more challenging in that I couldn't out heal. Like, it takes a long time to beat the last boss because there's a huge health bar and there are things happening around it and things you have to do, but I just could not out heal the damage the boss was doing and the enemies around it. So there's like a few balance.
Just like a bit of a balance issue.
Yeah. So like it's ultimately a balancing thing, and the only reason I think I managed to beat the game is because I ended up getting an ability, an item, like a passive equipable thing, where I'd have a bubble form around me to take one instance of damage, and it refreshes like every 20 to 30 seconds, whatever the time is. So I had that to help me absorb, like survive that long run. And I had a passive where there's a high chance for enemies to drop health. So all it became, the only reason I beat that final boss ultimately is because became very patient, like, oh my god, I'm on like 1 health. Let me just play it very carefully, wait for my bubble to regenerate before I go try attack the boss again. or I'll play it carefully and I'll just keep killing enemies until I have a bit more health, that I can be a bit more aggressive with my attacks, whatever. So there's a few things like that where it's not game breaking. I think with enough time, patches, maybe even downloadable content, whatever their plans are, the game will definitely get better. And it's a very strong foundation. It's not perfect. Like in my review for Fangirl, it's like, maybe it's an unfair comparison, but my benchmark is the likes of Hades, Dead Cells, Vampire Survivors. Those games are like just so good at what they do. Where Metavoidal is very good, but it's not quite on the same level. It can be with time, but it's just not quite there yet. I think there are definitely some really good ideas, and the game is fun to play. Like, I thoroughly enjoy doing runs.
Yeah.
And even in reviewing it, I was like, oh my God, like, you and I have played games where we review like, oh, I have to like force myself to play this game to, I've got to, there's nothing worse than having to play a game to review a game you're not enjoying playing. I did not have that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did not have that with this. I did not have that with this at all. Like, I was very much looking forward to coming home, doing a run or two to see if I could get to the final boss. How would I build out like my next run, that sort of thing. It's really good fun. And you're right, this would live on a handheld. Oh my God, put it on Switch, put it on like a Steam. I think it is Steam Deck verified, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it would be great to play on a Steam Deck. These are the sorts of games that like thrive on a portable platform, because you can just like, do a few runs in bed, put it that way. And I do agree with you that an hour per run is maybe a bit long in the tooth, but yeah, I think these are like balancings that could change in the future.
Yeah, it's a good game though. I think I'm definitely keen to play more of it. Yeah, and that soundtrack, man, if it's not on Spotify, put it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm happy again to have more local developers like putting out games, and also just glad that this finally made its way out, because it has been in development for a long time, and you hate to see these sorts of games eventually just kind of like wither away and not make it to the finish line. So it's great that it came out, and it's great that it's good as well, and I'm very happy for the team, and I'm hoping this means it's a springboard for them to continue making games, and hopefully maybe push into a sequel for this, or an entirely new game, just to kind of stick around and get the like industry growing, which would always be good to see.
Yeah.